And we are live. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another brilliant episode of the Panenka View podcast, episode number 11. And we've almost done 3 episodes. We have almost done one episode in 3 days. That's how we have been putting out our content one after the other, and we are here again, and we will be reviewing the midweek UCL games, the Champions League games that got over. Match day 5 of the Champions League was a thriller. You must be curious to know which teams went through and which teams will go through, and obviously we will be previewing you with the big games from the weekend, the triple derby delight, Chelsea Fulham, the big one, North London derby between Arsenal and Spurs, and the Merseyside derby, Liverpool versus Everton. Joining me is my co-host Suprotim Gupta. Supro, welcome back. And after, I must say, like 3 episodes, it's just you and me finally.
Yeah, after so many guests and so many episodes later, we are finally here to preview the big game, the North London derby, Arsenal Tottenham.
And the main part is, that it's been a thrilling UCL. It's been a thrilling UCL week, match day 5. And what better than to start with Group H? If you're scoring the winning goal, basically now the way to celebrate is throwing the juice bottles or the water bottles.
There's a reason why we call him the Masala Man.
Masala Man does it again. That's I almost felt, there was a meme on Twitter. You're about to be sacked, and then Fellaini scores the winner.
Had to be him.
Yeah. Okay, so Group H, United versus Young Boys. What do you make of the game? United won that game 1-0.
Yeah,
Fellaini winner.
But it was another abject performance by Manchester United. You could see that in the back of their minds, they thought that they'll win this game easily by 1 goal, 2 goals, but the goals never came. The chances, they didn't create many chances, and it took one great save by David De Gea to keep them in the game. And
correct.
Eventually, United do what they had to do, bring on Marouane Fellaini, put in the long balls in the box.
And score the winner.
Yeah, but it was a very good cross by Luke Shaw, I must say. Good assist.
And to be very honest with you, you mentioned David De Gea saving them, and he's been one of those key figures for them. Without him, he could even save a sinking Titanic. That's how his presence is. So United are on 10 points. Basically, Valencia lost to Juventus. Obviously, Mandzukic scoring that winner and Cristiano Ronaldo assisting.
Great assist.
So that puts Juventus on 12. That puts Man United on 10 and Valencia on 5, which means that Juventus and United go through. Well, if we aren't in for any surprises, Juventus go through as group winners and United will finish second. Also, quick trivia for our listeners. Cristiano became the first person to register 100 UCL wins, by the way. That's something I was digging on the internet, and I found it on, obviously, the official UEFA Champions League handle. So that's about Group H. And, let's turn our attention to Group B. And Group B is the one with Tottenham, Inter, Barcelona, and PSV Eindhoven. So Tottenham won, Inter Milan 0. That's where all our eyes were on Tottenham grabbing the win, and they needed that win because they are winless in their first 3, just a draw in the third game. So now they have won 2 on the trot, and they are tied with Inter on 7 points. So both of them basically on 7 points. And what do you make of the game last night?
Yeah, Tottenham make a lot of changes to their front four. Lucas Moura started on the right and Eric Lamela started on the left. I think in hindsight, they made the changes to make sure that their main players in Eriksen, Heung-min Son are well rested for the North London derby.
Correct.
And eventually, Pochettino brought Eriksen in the second half, and Eriksen scored the winner. They also made a change to the midfield. Harry Winks started instead of Eric Dyer, and Jan Vertonghen came back to the squad instead of their new Argentinian defender Foyth.
Yeah.
And I think the core of the team should be the same for the Northern Derby as well. But it was a great win for them because now they are on such a good winning streak. They beat Chelsea so comfortably. They won against Tottenham, so they are still in the race to qualify for the knockout stages. So their confidence should be sky high right now. Winning two good teams in Europe.
And basically, they have been winning all their games. They have won all their games in November. After that loss to City at Wembley, they have gone on to win all their games, and there have been some big names there. And that puts both of them on 7 points. Barca beat PSV Eindhoven 2-1, and Barca are through in first place, 13 points. So that game on the final day where Spurs face Barca at Nou Camp will be like the biggest UCL night in their history, where all eyes will be on them. So who do you fancy going through, Inter or Spurs?
Inter are definitely favourites because they face a team that has definitely not been knocked out of the Champions League, and they won't even qualify for the Europa League. So PSV Eindhoven have nothing to play for, and Inter Milan have everything to play for. So I think Inter Milan will beat them. And as for Barca's Tottenham, well, if we consider the favourites, Barca are definitely the favourites to win that game. If not win, at least a draw. But you never know what Tottenham have in store.
Their armour, yeah. And that reminds me, if Inter draw, that Inter game is inconsequential if Barca win. The Inter has to just draw that game. But Inter are favourites against PSV Eindhoven. We've had a great battle. That game at San Siro is so key. Tottenham will be looking bad at that game. They were leading 1-0, 5 minutes to go, and had they won that, the things could have been different.
They would have qualified.
And Inter have bounced back from that, and they have amassed a lot. Obviously, they took a point off Barca, and they obviously lost to Barca at Nou Camp. But that's Group B, and turning our attentions to Group C. Group C, again, one more group of death. Liverpool, PSG, Napoli and Red Star.
Yeah.
And first of all, let me remind you all, Liverpool had a double header in game week 3 and 4 against Red Star. So basically they win at Anfield. Then they go away, and then they draw.
The electrician scored.
No, they lose.
The electrician scored against them.
And then what happens in game week 5? Again, a game away to PSG, and they lose. So basically they have lost all 3 of their away games, and that's the first time it has happened in Liverpool history that the Reds have lost all 3 of their away games. So basically what happens in that group now? PSG won 2-1. And Napoli beat Red Star 3-1. So what happens on the final day? Who do you see the 2 teams that go through from Group B?
Definitely PSG and Napoli, because Liverpool are on 6 points and PSG on 8 points. PSG play Red Star Belgrade away. At Paris in the last game, and I think they should win that game easily. And it doesn't matter if Liverpool beat Napoli or not, because Napoli obviously beat them at their own place 1-0. So if Liverpool beat them by 2-0, I think they will qualify, but I don't think so they will. I think it has to be Napoli and PSG.
So if PSG win and Liverpool win, PSG go to 11.
Yeah, Liverpool has to win with a difference of 2 goals.
2 goals, correct. Because Napoli won 1-0 and Napoli didn't concede that away goal, which comes into picture.
Yeah.
And that would be it. So, some other roundups from the Champions League is that Atletico Madrid won 2-0 against Monaco.
Yeah.
And basically, BVB spurned the chance of going top, drew 0-0 against Club Brugge. So, Atletico are top, 12 points. Dortmund are second, 10 points. And basically, it's just down to the final match day as to who finishes, the group winner. Basically, that's Group A. We've spoken about Group B. We've spoken about Group C. Group D, Porto are have run away with the group, 13 points. That's done. Schalke are second. And, let's go on to Group F. The Man City, Lyon, Shakhtar and Hoffenheim group.
Yeah.
Where Lyon and Man City drew 2-2. And, Hoffenheim lost to Shakhtar. But the main talking point is Lyon drawing 2-2 against Man City. So that's 4 points they have taken from Pep Guardiola's men, beating them at the Manchester Arena, the Manchester Stadium, and then drawing at home.
Yeah.
So how do you make of that game?
Yeah, Lyon performed really well because the midfield two of Ndombele and Oyer, they performed exceptionally against Manchester City. Even Pep admitted that how good they were. Even Forlan Mendy did a hell of a good job in enhancing his reputation as an emerging left back in France. Maxwell Cornet scored twice. So these were the four players that performed really well for Lyon. Even Memphis Depay provided an assist. And I think Lyon will be in trouble in the next summer window because Manchester City will be looking to buy these players. Pep Guardiola definitely has a high on them. And there are reports that Mikel Arteta spoke to their manager after the game regarding these players. So, yeah, Lyon should be ready in the next summer to get bids from Manchester City. Embrace themselves.
And that's a key point you mentioned there. That attacking lineup, Lyon's attacking lineup is going to be the talking point for, and they are going to be hot in the transfer window when the next Jan window or the next summer window arrives, because Cornet basically scored the brace.
Yeah.
And Memphis Depay provided an assist. But regardless of that, they have been a hot talking point. They have been the reason why Lyon has been doing good. And that's the reason Lyon have taken 4 points, as I mentioned, from Man City. While it's a group where you thought that, Man City could just stroll through the park and go ahead. But all the teams have made it difficult.
It's something the Premier League teams can learn from.
And, Man City are on 10. Lyon are on 7 in second place. Shakhtar are on 5 and Hoffenheim are obviously out 3. So if we go to the last match day 6 fixtures, Man City entertain Hoffenheim, and basically the game between Shakhtar and Lyon will decide who goes through and in second place. So Man City basically need just a draw from Hoffenheim, but giving they are at home, they might be in their free flowing scoring form. They might just put 2 or 3 or 4 past a Hoffenheim side. So who do you see the second place team going, Lyon or Shakhtar?
I think Lyon should go through. They are the better team out of the two, and I think they know that they're in a very good chance to qualify for the knockout stages, and losing to Shakhtar obviously isn't in their plans. So I think it should be Manchester City and Lyon.
Manchester City and Lyon. And guys, match day 6 is just like 15 days away.
Yeah.
It's mid-December. And the best part about this football returning is that there's no international break till March. That was such a relief when I saw. And guys, that is it for the UCL review, match day 5, which keep your eyes on Group B, Group C, because those are like consequential groups as to anyone can go through from that group. So now turning our attentions to the big games from Sunday, and I am so thankful whoever's in charge of scheduling, 3 derbies on Sunday.
Yeah.
You and me have had a common point of getting angry sometimes. The scheduling was shambolic sometimes. No games on Sunday, all the games exhausted on Saturday.
Yeah.
And 3 derbies to look forward to this Sunday, starting off with Chelsea versus Fulham. Then moving on to North London derby, Arsenal versus Spurs, spicy. And then the Masaledar Merseyside derby, Liverpool versus Everton. So if our Indian viewers are listening to us, Chelsea versus Fulham is 5:30 p.m. followed by Arsenal versus Spurs, which starts around 7:45, and then 7:30, and then when you go to the Merseyside derby, it starts at 9:45. So action-packed football from 5:30 p.m. to 11:30. That's a super Sunday. That's a Sunday that every football fan dreams of. So Supro, let's turn our attention to Arsenal versus Tottenham.
Yes.
Arsenal are 5th, basically, and on a 17-game unbeaten run in all competitions. Last defeat came against Chelsea. And Spurs basically have won all their last 6 games. Who do you think goes into this derby as the favourites?
It's a very difficult question actually, because Tottenham haven't got a great record at the Emirates. They've only won 1 game in the past 12 years. But one has to consider the form that they are in. They beat Chelsea, they beat Inter Milan, two of the best sides in Europe at the moment, and that has to count for something. They will be like, if we can beat them, why can't we beat Arsenal? And Arsenal will be wary of the fact that they are on a 17-game unbeaten run, and they have done really well at the Emirates this
Absolutely.
season.
And
Only lost to Manchester City and drew against Wolves. Rest of the games they have won. But then again, this is the derby. This is the two sides. It's such a huge history, such rivalry, and form really goes out of the window. On the day, if a team performs, then nothing can change that.
so basically, it's about the team that shows up.
That
and
shows up on the
let's just then turn our attentions to the formations
Yeah.
of, Arsenal will line up with Leno, Bellerin, Mustafi or Socrates for you.
You know what? I think I'll go with Mustafi simply for the fact that he's a tad quicker than Socrates, and obviously Tottenham are very quick on the break, and especially Dele Alli taking up all those spaces. So I think Mustafi should start over Socrates, but I think Emery might go with a back three again because he provides such defensive solidity for Arsenal. The same team that played against in the weekend versus
Chelsea.
not for Arsenal.
For Arsenal, for Bournemouth, against Bournemouth. Against
exactly.
Bournemouth, yeah, correct.
See
Against
me.
Bournemouth, yeah.
So instead of Mkhitaryan, I think Ozil will come.
Yes.
Because Mkhitaryan didn't perform really well against Bournemouth, and he has travelled to Wolska for the Europa League game. So it's pretty clear that Mkhitaryan will play over there and not in the weekend.
Absolutely.
So,
And ladies and gentlemen, we are recording right after the Champions League, all the games, match day 5. So we are doing this before the Europa League. So Arsenal are in Kiev right now, and there's a bit of a scheduling dilemma that's going on. And basically, Wolska cannot guarantee whether Arsenal will, they can go ahead with the game or not. But again, turning our attentions back to, the discussion from the lineups. Socrates, Mustafi, Holding. Pick 2. Who to start on the day? Who would you pick?
Well, given the form, I think Socrates will be the majority for all the people, but I think Mustafi will keep his place.
So Mustafi and Holding.
Even Rob Holding went to Kiev.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. And, seeing the left back woos that we have, Monreal.
Yeah, Monreal is injured for 2 weeks.
So Kolasinac starts there.
Yep.
And Torreira Xhaka, that axis, the midfield duo. And, then who starts on the right? Because we know Lacazette is back in training, so he will start. That's the indication he was rested for Bournemouth.
Okay.
So Ozil starts in number 10, Laka starts, Oba will start on the left. Who starts on the right? Iwobi?
That depends. If Emery plays a 4-2-3-1, then obviously Aubameyang will start on the left, Lacazette will start up front, Mesut Ozil in the number 10 position, and Iwobi will start on the right. If Emery reverts to a back 3 or a back 5 as he did against Bournemouth, then maybe Aubameyang will start over Lacazette. Lacazette just came from an injury, so maybe he will be benched for the game, and Aubameyang will start up front. Ozil will play inside as a number 10 alongside Iwobi, and Arsenal will give the wide spaces to their wing backs.
And Ozil was benched against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So you don't know what to expect from Emery. I mean, he will just go according to his game plan. He won't consider the big players or the big names. He will see which player can do the work, do the job for him, and execute the plans. And obviously Hector Bellerin starts at right back. We all know that, because Lichtsteiner, I think, has travelled.
He has travelled to also.
Yeah. So Hector Bellerin is rested, much needed rest. And going on to Spurs, the lineup for Spurs, the front 4 is predictable. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, Dele Alli and Eriksen. Who starts in the pivot role?
It has to be Sissoko and Eric Dyer, because Eric Dyer was rested for the Inter Milan game. I want to see whether he starts Jan Vertonghen or the new defender, Jan Foyth.
Yeah, Foyth.
Because Foyth, he has done well, but he has this tendency of giving away penalties. He gave away 2 penalties at Wolves. He almost gave away a penalty against Chelsea, which I think was a penalty.
Correct.
The referee didn't give it. So, considering that, given the fact that it is such a huge game for both the clubs and the occasion can become too big for the young defender, I think Jan Vertonghen will start the game. And Trippier is injured, so I think Serge Aurier will start over there. Davis has been a permanent starter for Pochettino's side at left back.
Correct. So, and Aurier starts there because Trippier is injured. So Trippier is still to get back to. He'll take a while to come back. So guys, that's more about formations. And Supro, if I had to ask you, point out a few key battles in the North London Derby,
Hmm.
which side of the pitch would you mention? Which key battles would you want the viewers to look out for?
I think it has to be in the wide areas because against Chelsea, what Tottenham did was they obviously put Dele Alli to mark Jorginho,
Correct.
and Dele Alli came inside the midfield to form a midfield diamond. They gave away all the wide spaces to to Chelsea to exploit, but they didn't do anything from it. Hazard and Willian. So I think they'll do the same because Arsenal have this tendency of cutting back inside, and they have been doing that all the way this season. Look, if you look at the goals of Ozil against Watford,
Yeah.
Ozil against Leicester,
Yeah.
then Aubameyang's goal against Leicester as well, which was a cutback from Hector Bellerin.
Correct.
Then the own goal versus Watford, which Iwobi gave it. So there have been a lot of goals of Arsenal which have been cutbacks, and Tottenham are wary of that because Pochettino and Emery are good tactical coaches who do a lot of video analysis, so they must know the strengths and weaknesses. So I assume that will be the case again versus Arsenal. We'll have to see on the day.
So Harry Kane, Mustafi has to be wary of Harry Kane if he starts. And
Mustafi was really good against Tottenham last time they played at the Emirates.
And and we won 2-0. That was a great game. And I'm waiting for this battle. I'm waiting for Xhaka Torreira versus Sissoko and Dyer. Basically, Xhaka shouldn't be giving away the ball like that. We don't need that brain fart moment from him, and just clear the ball. Do not keep passing. Do not try to play out from the back because Tottenham will press, and we saw against Chelsea. So you can't be that complacent at the back.
Yeah.
And one player that scares the shit out of me is Xhaka, because I can commend him all he wants, on all he deserves. But when he does that mistake, that leads to a direct goal. That's my observation in the past 3 seasons. And that's North London Derby for you guys. And before we go, here's a quick trivia. You would want to hear. Tottenham obviously have won their last 6 games. And Arsenal have won one of their last 8 Premier League matches against Spurs. And that win came at Emirates in the last season. So they have to, make sure they turn up, Arsenal, because in the past 8 years, that's just one win. So all of them have been like draws. So Spurs have won just one of their last 25 away Premier League games against Arsenal. And you must like that trivia. Tottenham have lost more points from winning positions in Premier League games against Arsenal than any other side. And that's 37. So Premier League matches between Arsenal and Tottenham have seen both teams find the net often than any other fixture in the competition. Oh my god. And Arsenal are unbeaten in their last 11 Premier League matches. Supro, any guesses when we lost last time in the Premier League?
At Wembley?
We lost at Stamford Bridge.
This
Chelsea.
season?
Yeah,
Okay, Against Chelsea.
This season,
at
correct.
Stamford Bridge, yeah.
This season against Chelsea.
The last time we lost against Spurs.
So last time we lost against Spurs was last season at Wembley. We expected Aubameyang and everyone that front four coming. So guys, North London Derby is going to be a spicy encounter. And Supro, turning our attention to other games, the Merseyside Derby. The Merseyside Derby, Liverpool versus Everton, bragging rights of Merseyside. And Liverpool are currently high flying, second in the table. Everton are 6th. Everton and Liverpool have a difference of 11 points. How do you see that game panning out? What are your points from that game?
It has been 8 years since Everton won a derby against Liverpool in Premier League or in any competition. And with Liverpool having this defeat against PSG, they have to put it behind and fire themselves up for putting in a good performance against Everton, because at the end of the day, their main focus this season has to be the Premier League, challenging for the title. So, there has been disappointments in the Champions League, but if they have to maintain that pressure, they have to put the pressure to Manchester City, they have to win this game against Everton.
Correct.
So, I think they will be fired up for it.
And Jordan Henderson is out. He got a red card last time.
And Liverpool fans are happy about it.
I read a lot of tweets saying blessing in disguise. And somebody said, no, that's not a blessing in disguise. That is a blessing. And he played last night as well against PSG. Got a lot of stick. The midfield got overrun. Neymar was at his best. So, bro, who do you think will start for Liverpool? Knowing that, from the last weekend's game, any changes that would happen in the mid-weeks thing, वगैरह? Because Van Dijk starts, Alisson starts, obviously.
Naby Keita and Fabinho are back, so I expect both of them to start against Everton since Jordan Henderson is out. Either one of Milner or Jorginho should. Jorginho, I'm saying Wijnaldum. Jorginho Wijnaldum. Either one of them should start in the game. I think Shaqiri might get a start because he was really good against Watford, and obviously Liverpool missed the creativity against PSG. They, instead of putting one creative midfielder in Shaqiri, they put three workhorses in Milner, Jordan Henderson and Wijnaldum, which obviously didn't work for them. So against Everton, Klopp might think that he might need a bit of creativity in the midfield.
So if you're Klopp and Henderson is out, okay, who do you start in the two-man mid role? Keita and
I'll put Fabinho and Keita.
And so if would you go with a 4-3-3 formation?
Because Everton play a 4-2-3-1 with Richarlison up front, I think Klopp might match it with his own 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1, correct. And that's correct because Naby Keita and Fabinho might just start. Now they're back.
Yeah.
And he rested them for the midweek game, so which is a clear indication that they will start for the derby. So moving on to Chelsea versus Fulham, the first defeat Chelsea incurred last time was against Tottenham, who Arsenal face obviously. But how do you see Chelsea versus Fulham panning out? And easy win for Chelsea? Draw? Any surprises from Fulham now that Claudio Ranieri is back?
I think they'll put up more of a fight than they used to do in the Premier League. But I think Chelsea will pick up a routine win because that side is really good. They didn't perform against Tottenham on the day, but that side is really good. So I expect them to beat Fulham comfortably.
Correct. And that's triple derby delight that we have from the weekend. That's Premier League. And the other games to look out forward to are Man City's game against
Bournemouth,
which is home or away?
Home, Etihad.
So Manchester City versus Bournemouth, and Masala Man's team goes away to Southampton. And that's a Saturday night fixture if I'm not wrong. So the first day of December starts with a lot of drama on Saturday. And I've been getting a lot of stick from the United fans, but that's okay. We are friendly here. We have a banter and here and there and kya yaar itna bura mat mano वगैरह. So the other games to look out are Southampton Man United and Manchester City versus Bournemouth. I can see Manchester City grabbing another win and extending their lead at the top.
You know what? Of all the teams that are there in the Premier League, all the mid-table teams, or the so-called small teams in quotes, as we call them, I think Bournemouth should give them the best fight.
And my experience with this guy has been that whenever he says something, that happens. I remember 2015-16 season where nobody was expecting an Arsenal loss to Olympiacos. and we lost that game. And that if Bournemouth can put up a tough fight, Eddie Howe, the commendable.
Because they are
Eddie
very, very, very quick on the counter.
And Fraser has been a revelation.
Yeah.
So, Supro, this Everton and Liverpool game is the wrapping up of this weekend.
Yeah.
And we expect a big review episode that day on Sunday.
A video review episode.
A video review episode on Hangouts. And guys, since there is a lot of games that are happening, we will be doing a video episode to just review the weekend and preview the midweek games.
Yeah.
So just keep your eyes on the Hangout episode. And before we go, we want you to know the other games to watch out for from the weekend. Real Madrid face Valencia and Barcelona face Villarreal. That's the La Liga. And Atletico Madrid are away to Girona. And to be very honest with you, Supro, which many might not see coming, is Alaves versus Sevilla.
Yeah.
And Alaves versus Sevilla is a top of the table clash. Alaves are fourth, obviously, and Sevilla are first.
I think not many realize that Sevilla are first in La Liga at the moment.
Absolutely, and that's the games that you want to be looking out for. We will be doing a quick review on Sunday. And turning our attentions to Bundesliga, the league leaders are at home to Freiburg, and Bayern Munich are away to Werder Bremen.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich's league form is a big concern for Nico Kovacs.
Yeah, and speaking of Bayern Munich, I read this rumor on Twitter that Arsene Wenger's agent was there at the game. Bayern Munich versus Benfica in the Champions League.
But you know,
according to Sportsbet.
That's correct. But you know what my gut says? My gut says he's going to join a management. He'll be going into a management.
Not as a manager, but
yeah,
in the upper...
making the financial decisions. I think that's where he should go, according to me.
Okay.
Obviously, we all will follow if he turns a manager.
Yeah, of course.
But honestly speaking, he should just go into the upper management, and he just should work through the financials and the transfers and not stress too much, because he's done a commendable job at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Dedicated his entire life.
But we all know how of a stubborn man he is.
So
how much of a stubborn man.
So guys, that was another preview episode, and obviously the Champions League review episode from the Panenka View. We have received overwhelming response over the 10 episodes, and obviously the last episode received a lot of interactions. So obviously we can't get a lot of the people back together again and again, but Suprotim and me will be the constant lineup of the Panenka View podcast. And tune in to Sunday for the Hangout episode. We will be going live, and we will announce the time on our Twitter page. So guys, that was a fun episode of the Panenka View podcast, episode number 11. Subscribe to us, like, comment, share, and make sure to listen. Thank you.
Bye.